Looks like we're live. Hello, everyone. Today I'm talking with Russell Nohelty. Those of you who don't know him, Russell is one of the number one people that I connected on Substack. He really knows his stuff. I'll let you explain yourself in a second. The one thing that I really love is you understand the craft as well as the business side. So you really know how to do something as a writer, but also as a marketer and as a salesperson. And that's super interesting for me. Thank you so much, Russell, for showing up. For those of you who don't know you, give them a short pitch about yourself, please.
Sure. I'm a USA Today bestselling author. I am the creator behind the Author Stack. We have close to, hopefully, the next couple months, 50,000 subscribers.
Wow.
I've also written all of the books over here or edited all of these things. I've written 16 nonfiction books or co-written them, but I've also written 45 novels and a bunch of comics, and I've directed a movie, and so I've done a lot. I have like a lot of intersectional knowledge of this thing.
You mentioned you've written so many different books, but you've also written one book that's relevant for everyone who's here today, and it's this one. That's why we're streaming live. That's why the session is called How to Build a World-Class Substack. I know you've published a multiple hundred pages book on this together with the Claire Venus, but tell us in like a couple of sentences, Russell, what does it take to build a world-class Substack?
All right. I always think I'm going to give a different answer, but I'm going to just you have to. It's going to be really controversial. You have to get over yourself. You have to get over that people aren't going to like you. That people you're going to say things that are polarizing. That you're going to say things that are wrong. You have to get over that anyone's going to care because they're just not thinking about you as and you have to mostly get over the willful ignorance and the joyous ignorance that most writers have, which is I don't do marketing, yay, and high-fiving each other and being excited about that. I've worked in a lot of industries. I've literally never in my life seen a group of people outside of writers and authors who are excited to not make money.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, honestly speaking, in our bubble, it's often you're the bad person if you're charging for something. If you sell a product, then oftentimes people say, yeah, the whole goal of the writing is only to sell something. But honestly speaking, if you're not doing it as a hobby, you need to make money with it.
Yeah, and it's I always say, let's take money off the table. Do you want to be appreciated and read by more people? Do you want people to get more excited about your work? Do you want people to devour your books? Do you want people to talk about your books? Because in order to do that, even if you don't want money, I've never met a writer who doesn't want to be more well-read, doesn't want to have a bigger audience, doesn't want to have bigger impact. And all of that comes by the size of your audience, and the size of an audience means you're out there in front of the world, and you're bleeding for them, and you're making mistakes and things, and the bigger your platform is, the more those things echo and amplify, and the more you get to do the work, and the better you get at the craft, the more people talk about your work, and and the more people that read it have to talk about it and send it out, and then the more people that it just kind of amplifies itself. And there's really no there's no ethical consumption in capitalism, there's no growth in capitalism that doesn't also make money. But I like to think of money as the means to the end. And that's where I think a lot of people, especially that are writing specifically on Substack, especially, but a lot of fiction writers, a lot of entrepreneurs, they get this disgust about talking about money. But I think where that comes from is most people that teach business teach money as the ends. And they're who cares what you're selling? Who cares what you're making? Who cares what your product is? Who cares what industry it is? As long as there's money at the end of it. And like that's really damaging to a lot of writers and a lot of entrepreneurial types, because like for them, money is the means, like the product, like the audience, like the people are the end, like whatever the end is. Like if someone wants to paint, like they want money as a means to get to the painting. Like if they want to like go to a relief trip to Rwanda. Like they're like the money is the end goal, is the means to get to the end goal of like going to that place. And I think that if we can just say, well, if your end is writing books, writing posts, affecting change, like having a mission, like whatever that thing is, like money still has to exist in order to fuel that end mission. And we just have to take it from money as ends to money as means.
Yeah. I always love to say, if you're not making money with what you want to do, then it's a nice hobby, but it's not something you can invest a lot of time in, because at a certain point you will need money and then you will be forced to do other things.
Absolutely.
That being said, whenever I read a book like this one, I make a lot of notes. And the cool thing, and that's something I'm really grateful for, Russell, is you said, and that's something I always wanted to do, is I wanted to have like a conversation with an author about certain parts that I found interesting in this book. And I'm super happy that we are doing this. I can tell you it's not all about Substack. It's a lot about building business, because that's also my bigger vision. And also a lot of those things are related to how you are making your decisions. And that's the first part that I want to start with. I also have the questions here in the background. So at one part in your book, you're writing, always optimize for enjoyment. And you also say that you left millions on the table because you focused your business not on what's working, but on what you enjoy best. Can you go in a little bit more detail on that?
Sure. So to go back to what we were just saying, like a lot of times you run into all of these things and they're terrible. Like they just sound terrible. They feel terrible. You look at you read like an article on like some growth hack and you're like, well, okay, I guess I have to try this because like they say it's right. And then like you do it and you're like, nope, this is awful. I hate every minute of this. I don't want to do this. And so a lot of my work is in saying, well, like, okay, that's how to do it to optimize for money. Like you do X, Y, and Z. Like, I mean, I respect Russell Brunson, but this is how I think about like whenever I hear Russell Brunson like talk, I'm like, ugh, like this is so like I feel gross just listening to this podcast, but all of his strategies work. And so I keep doing them. But I have to modify them to say, like, okay, well, I do need an automation sequence, but like I don't want to send 5 emails in 6 hours. So like how can I do this in a way that like is optimize like this strategy in a way that like optimizes for some other metric, whether that's joy or whether that's audience growth or whether that's fun. Like my co-host on the 6-Figure Author Experiment, Lee, is always talking about like optimize for fun. And like if you were optimizing for anything that is, this goes back to the money. If money is the end, then everything has to be optimized for money. But if joy is the end, if like audience is the end, if growth is the end, if fun is the end, then like you get to optimize, and like that's where you're optimizing for. You're doing a whole different set of optimization. So that's what I mean. It's like after this book, what I realized was like, oh, I'm like optimizing for. I like money is the means, not the end.
Yeah, I like that. I have a practical example for that. So one point in my business career, I think 5 or 6 years ago, I had a course priced at $500 and I was selling additional coaching sessions for $100 an hour. And in the beginning, I was super happy because each additional coaching session meant more income, and it also allowed me to get a better understanding of what the people are missing in the course. But then suddenly certain people were showing up and they said, like, instead of doing the course, I just buy 5 coaching hours with Philip. And I didn't like that at all. My goal was really that the people are buying the course from me and only certain people do the coaching. So I more than doubled the price of the coaching and the problem was solved. And this was also not to make more money from those people, because the amount of coaching sessions that I sold drastically declined, but it allowed me to have more time to do what I really wanted to do with my business.
Yeah. And I talk about this a lot. I'm like, so people are always like, I know I can't give it away for free. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Like, why? And they're like, well, I need to make money on it. I'm like, well, sure. But like, there's this parallel that we all exist on. It's like the growth to monetization parallel. And like, if you want to grow, then you have to move away from like monetization a lot of times. And because the biggest friction point is money. So it's like, well, sure, like if you want to make maximum money, you can't give a thing away for free, but like if you can support it, like if you're okay with it, like I give away a lot of it for free. I give away most of it for free. Like I'm giving away it all for free right now, even though we have like a paid membership on the author stack, because like, I don't know, like I just want to, like, I want to do a thing. Like when people say, this is great Jim Croce quote where he's like, basically says, records were better in the 70s because no one knew what they were doing. They just were able to say, I don't know, maybe it'll sell, maybe it won't sell. And like, I know, like Jim Croce have his lived experience saying that the record business was better in the 70s has all sorts of red flags. But like, I do like this idea of like, well, I don't know, like, what happens if I do give it away for free? Like, I'm not going to die. Like, my business isn't going to collapse. Like, I can always rebuild something else or write another book. Like, there's some thing where, like, it will. What I'm always looking for are the things that care.
Yeah.
Like, without my knowledge. So like we have a system called the author ecosystem that people are always talking about, like to me and like in air. And I'm like, oh, that's like a thing that carries, but it only carried because we gave it away for free for years. And now it like comes back and amplifies upon itself. Like there are series that I wrote, like Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. We took like a 5-year gap in making that book or 8-year gap in making that book, but people kept telling me about it always. Oh, like they kept, and I was like, okay, well, like I'll come back and I'll finish what my vision was. And like, and so I don't know, like I don't agree with that for every business. I certainly think Chevy shouldn't give out all of their cars for free. That's not great because they have such high costs. But like they do give out lots of free cars throughout the year. And like once you have, that's why I'm so big on breaking even on whatever you're doing. Because like once you break an even on your cost, whether that is the hard cost or the soft cost and it's profit, well, like then you can just reinvest. Okay, well, like I can give it away for free forever because like I have made my money back on that product. But like when we're struggling to like break even on a product on like the thing we're doing, then it's like, well, I can't give it away for free because I need to make 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever, $500 just to make it worth my time. But I've built a career with like dozens upon, I've never lost money on a book in my entire career. And so, but like, I also haven't broken out on many of our books don't break out. So like, I always say, well, first of all, you need a body of work. Because when you have a body of work, you can give away any one of those things at any time. And this is why series work so well. So yeah, I always really, I always ask why not. It's like, well, why can't I do that thing? Usually the answer is money. And then I'm like, oh, well, if it's just money, I don't care.
I like that. I mean, that also speaks completely to my philosophy of business of doing organic marketing, because organic marketing means basically I can break even super quickly. It's basically just my time and a little bit of costs that's involved in creating some books or digital products. So I really like that. On the other hand, if you're doing like paid advertising, it could be like, okay, now I've sunken 40K just to get people to sign up for my webinar. Now I'm in a completely different position. But that brings me to another point that I want to touch base on, and that's something where a lot of people always discuss. Do you need a niche? Don't you need a niche? And you wrote a couple of things about niching down in your book, but you also have one part where you said something like, I think it's a part where you talk to a producer and they told you like, it's better to be in the top 3 on one list compared to being in multiple categories in the top 10. So basically the key message is it's better to be known for something specific other than being quite okayish in multiple categories. Is that something we can take one-on-one for niches?
Well, this depends on what level of your career you're in, because like I think that you should be broad at first to just talk about learn. So when I first started writing movies, I wrote romantic comedies, I wrote thrillers, I wrote all kinds of things to get my voice and my style and just what people would actually buy from me and what I liked making. So what are the things, where's the overlap of what people will buy, what I can amplify organically, what people want to pay me for. And that's why I generally think that most writers on Substack are very, very beginning of their career or very, very beginning of monetization. And they should be spend 6 months, spend a year just writing whatever the thing is, writing all of the things, intentionally writing things they hate, just to be I didn't know I would like negotiating contracts, but I do. And that's a thing that I learned by just being very broad. But so yes, I think you want to be known as the top 3 or the top 1 of something, but I think we are very bad at knowing one, what thing that I want to be known for, and 2, what thing people will know me for. I spent a lot of years being I'm not the Kickstarter guy. Quit coming to me for kick. And then, and after 5 or 10 years, I wrote a Kickstarter book with Monica, and because Monica was basically they want to give you money to talk about Kickstarter, and so just take their money. And so a lot of that kind of thing only comes with broadening yourself to, and then being able to do all of those things and finding what you have the ability to talk about over and over and over. The author stack is about author growth because I've spent 15 years talking about how to grow a creative career. I did it for free. I did it I paid to do it. I paid to speak. I in every way, I have just this is me being back on my bullshit. Basically, I just this is the thing that I talk about. So I might as well keep talking about it, but I don't think we are very good at knowing what that thing is at first. And I don't think we're very good at knowing, we're definitely terrible at knowing what an audience actually wants us to talk about.
I like that. I mean, you need to start broad, you need to try things, you need to figure out what you enjoy and what's working. But at a certain point, you need to niche down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you'll naturally niche down. I think it's that thing we were talking about what carries. Things will start carrying beyond your community as and there will be this reciprocity that comes back and forth for certain posts that you make or certain webinars that you run or certain X, Y, and Z that you do. Just certain things you do will have more transformational impact for others. So I think more so than you need to niche down, it's once you find something that carries, that you love, that is when you're all right, how do I 10x this? How do I double down on this one metric so that it's the best book, it's the hookiest book, it's the best post, it's the most resonant post. And there are all sorts of ways that you can do that. But I do think that you will naturally niche down, or you will naturally say, I know this is a place that I can make money. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I like that. So let's assume someone has found the niche. They have acquired a couple of, let's say, 1,000 followers. That brings us to the next point. What is the next kind of piece of content that you should create? And you're not only publishing once, but you're publishing regularly. And there you have an interesting thought where you say, homogeneity is the death of small publications. So it's important to write things that appeal to only a subsection of your audience, other than thinking of writing something that everyone in your publication will like? Why is that so important?
Well, first, I believe in the Tim Ferriss when he said, I make every podcast for 25% of my audience. And as long as I service 100% of them every month, then like they're happy and they keep listening. I don't think he's done a very good job of that recently, but there was a time that he was very good at it. But the main reason is because people do not know what they want. They do not know what they need. They know what feeling they want. They might know like the end goal, but I don't think they really know that. Like your audience isn't supposed to know how to get the transformation that they need. Like that's why they have come to you. So it's up to you to be like, maybe this speaks to you, maybe this speaks to you, maybe this other thing speaks to you, maybe this thing speaks to you here, and then growing with that base. But Russell Brunson, he used to say when he started ClickFunnels, you need one offer and a bunch of spokes.
Yeah.
And so like you have one publication or one course or one book. And you just need, once you have that and you know that it converts, you have this like powerful offer, then it's just like, well, every article is a chance to bring more people in and more people to see a different dimension to what you're doing. And like what people want is the feeling. Like there's this thing in writing where people say, like, every time somebody tells you what's wrong, that something is wrong, they are right. When they tell you how to fix it, they are always wrong. So it's like people know how they want to feel, but they don't know how to get to that feeling. So like you don't know how to get to that feeling necessarily with everyone at the same time. So like you need to like be pinging the decks. You need to like say, well, maybe this will resonate. Nope, that didn't resonate. No, this resonates. And also, like, most people get stuck saying, like, well, now what do I sell somebody? And they usually say that because they've spent like a year talking about the same thing in the same way, and they don't have a new audience to like bring in to like show from a different like angle. And so I think homogeneity is bad for a publication for both the reason of like you need to be finding different people and different axes, and um, and also because you'll get bored. Just like you will get bored talking about the same thing in the same way.
Yeah, but that's a cool opportunity that you have on Substack. I mean, even if you write about one niche, one topic, or just like one transformation, like in your case, from an offer to a more successful or a better offer, that's where guest postings, for example, can come into play, because you can get in someone who has a similar message, but with different experiences, with different touch points. And yeah, sometimes we need to hear things from multiple people and with different stories just for them to make click for us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love cross posting, and I love having guest posts on the author stack because like I have a very different lived experience than most of the people who read my publication. And frankly, I'm more successful than most authors, and I don't remember what it's like building an audience from scratch. I've written books. I've written things about like when I was on the come up. I wrote books about like how to maneuver, and I've gotten like very good. But like I don't know what it's like to speak to 500 people because like I have such a big audience. But like when I find somebody that's like, oh, you like have the same kind of base philosophy, but you're just like earlier on this journey, like let me bring you to me to like show how to do this, like make this concept work. Or like, wow, you've had such a different lived experience, but you've had the same results. So if you come here, you'll be able to speak in a different way to this audience than I can. And I think the longer you do this work, the more you're like, I need to find new ways into the same problem. And like, that is a different way into solving the same problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, once again, human psychology. Once you have something that's working, you just need to have different hooks to get people in the door. And that's the same for any kind of business, any kind of writing. So I love actually how super simple everything is if you really break it down to what drives the decision makers. I strongly believe that you are an amazing author, but for me, you're not an amazing author. The one thing that I really admire about you is how many shifts you've made in your career and how you always managed to shift and move from one thing to the next and always made it, and success brought your audience, brought your people. And I just really like that. So also in your book, you talk about the skill that is necessary for that, and that's pivoting. So why are you so good at that?
Well, I like data, one. So I'm very good at seeing 10 steps ahead.
Okay.
I've learned that I'm just very good at seeing like what is like the pitfalls of what could happen, and then being able to like work around that. And so I think that I'm I don't necessarily know why, like, I just am. I think what I am good at is because I have come at things in so many different ways. I am able to, and I've worked in movies and TV and comics and books. Like, what I think what I think maybe this is a better way. What I think holds people back from pivoting well is that they only know the skills that their industry has.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and I don't even mean the publishing industry. I mean like their strand of the publishing industry. Like, yes, there are doom spirals that happen in every industry, but like they can pretty much be solved with how somebody else solved the doom spiral in their industry. And so like the more industries you are aware of, the more things you try, the more things you steep in, the more skills you acquire to be able to like pivot in a way that's very quick. So like I know how to make a course. If I need to make a course, I could make a course this weekend. Like I could do a
Mm-hmm.
master class, like I could do X, Y, and Z, like I could do coaching, like I can write a book. Like I have all sorts of books. So like but like I have comics, like I work with publishers, like all of the things we that like I've done have opened my eyes to so many aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So like Kickstarter was a thing comics used. And then Monica and I showed authors how to use it. And like it opened 10x some authors' businesses because they were just not taught Kickstarter. It's not that Kickstarter doesn't work. It's that like they're not taught it. Like every nonfiction course creator I've ever met has done like a pledge drive style launch, but like
Mm-hmm.
that's not a thing that Substack does. So like just being able to say, well, what if I just took all of the things I know about like running a launch for a course, like bonuses, fast act bonuses, like dropping the price, like having like if all of those things just transfer to Substack, oh, but it works. And then
Yeah.
like it does work because like it's the same buyer psychology just on a different platform, but nobody on Substack has ever seen it before. So suddenly it's like new and novel. And but like it's not new and novel. It's a thing that they've been doing for like 20 years, like 40, 50, 100 years, however long they've been doing like launches even in public.
Mm-hmm.
Like like conferences work for comics, but like they also work for genre fiction. And so you sit here, and when the more of these skills you acquire and the more you spin up on them, it's like, oh, I don't, if this part of my business breaks, I just go to this part of the business and like I
Yeah.
just pivot here. And the thing that I think most people fail at when they talk about bringing their audience along is like they I am very thematically consistent with my work. So if you know our author ecosystems, like I'm very foresty in the way that like all of my books are about one thing, which is giving people the skills, tools, and experiences to feel like they have agency in a world that has basically tried to take it away. And so, like, well, if you're the kind of person that likes to feel empowered, or who likes to be empowered, you're probably going to come into my audience, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and like come along for the ride. Like, you probably are going to like genre fiction if you resonate with my stuff, because like that's what I talk about. That's like what I do, is like indie comics and indie books and like genre stuff. So like, you probably, if you're a nonfiction person, will be in part of my fiction. If you're part of my fiction universe, you probably will like my nonfiction if you like want to build a writing business. And so like it just like naturally I'm able to bring this along because I have so many pivot points. Now, the downside to that is whenever there's a list of like the best articles or the best speakers on Substack, I'm never on it, because like my book doesn't say my like thing doesn't say Substack in the title. Like, I don't talk about Substack every like day of my life. Like, I don't do webinars about Substack. So like I'm not in that like upper echelon thing on Substack like I feel like I should be in many respects. I mean, Claire and I wrote the definitive book on the subject, so like it's like I feel like I should be on that list. I've written like tens of thousands of words on it, but because people don't see the word Substack, it's like, oh, well, this strategy can't be for Substack then. But like, assuredly, it can be for Substack. Like, it can be. What I'm trying to do is the list where, and this is why it's important to know what list you're trying to be on. Because I am not trying to be on that list. I'm trying to be top 3 of a list of direct sales and like mindset people who can teach authors how to do direct sales better. And really what the list is, I want to be a list of 1 or 2, I guess, with my business partner, how to build an integrated publishing ecosystem, which is like how to take all of these elements and bring them together. So I'm trying to create like that category or be the only one in that category. And so I give up being the number 1 person on Kickstarter or the number 1 person on Substack, because like my mission is bigger than like a platform, which I think makes it more interesting to follow me, because like my whole goal is like any of the strategies can be used in any thread. It's just like you have to be able to expand your mind beyond like the Substack ecosystem to, or like the word Substack in a post before you know that like I released a post today. If you go to theauthorstack.com, there's a new post, 365 simple ways to talk about your book, like, which is like literally just a year of like book marketing stuff. You could use that on Substack, on notes. You can use that on social media. You can use that as a show, but like it does not say the word Substack in the title of that article. So like it is suddenly less shareable. This going far away from pivot, but like I think if you have a mission that's bigger, it's like Simon Sinek's start with why. It's like if you're very good at starting with why, then like the how and the what follow. Like what? Yeah. Well, is it a book? Is it a course? Is it a live video? Like, who cares? Like, the why is the thing that I've drilled on for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Russell, amazing. You mentioned so many things. One thing that really stuck with me is looking outside our own industries. There's so many things we can learn from other industries. And it's something that literally, I mean, I'm totally in this email marketing bubble. So recently, Sinem and I, we visited friends who opened up a really tiny, just like 80 square meters fashion store in Vienna. And the first thing that came to my mind is you need to collect the email addresses of everyone who's buying something from you so that you can find ways to get them back into your store. They said like, yeah, they're doing Instagram and Facebook. They never even thought of that, which is funny because for us, it's like something omnipresent. And yeah, if you take a look at what brick and mortar stores do, you can learn something for your business. So I'm a big fan of looking outside your own bubble and trying to learn from others. And I mean, it's the same with how we educate ourselves. If we read 5 or 6 personal growth or self-help books, we probably covered 98% of what the people are talking about. If we read 10 more, okay, we learn the 2 last things. But unless you want to become a coach in that field, it's better to read things about startups, about tech, about even you probably even benefit from reading something like fantasy other than reading just another self-help book.
Absolutely. And the thing that I learned from brick and mortar stores is they design like different things sell better in different places in their stores.
Yeah.
So like if you think about like your business, like things like it matters how you place things and what the sequence is of
Absolutely.
how you do stuff. And like literally I went into a bookstore several years ago, and they were like, "Do you want to hear a story about this Muhammad Ali book?" He was like, "I've placed this book 10 places in this store, and only there is and it sells like one a week there. It sells
Yeah.
nothing anywhere else." And so, like when you think about that, like, are you like selling the wrong thing, or are you just selling it in a different placement?
Yeah.
Someone said in the comments, they love everything. So my rule now is I get one thing a quarter to dive into. And at the end of that quarter, I should go to the next thing. What I want to do is follow things for 2 quarters minimum, so 6 months. But every quarter, I'm like, what is the thing I'm going to nerd out for this quarter? And then at the end of that quarter, I'm like, have I done well enough to continue on with another quarter doing this, or is it time to pivot? And so like I'm like, and what a lot of people say, do this weekly or do this monthly. I think if you pick one thing a quarter, it's enough time for most people to be like, okay, I'm going to read the 3 books I have to on this. I'm going to try the 4 strategies. I'm going to see if I like it. I'm going to see if it resonates. And then if it's doing well, continue on. If it's not, then like have a list of other stuff to like integrate. And then in that, you get 4 chances a year. And I will tell you, I've been doing this now full time for 8 years, and I am world class at 8 things. One thing a year gets you like one thing can make you 100,000 or even $1 million. But like when you start lacing them together, you then have a table that like can't have any legs knocked out of it, which is what you're really doing. What I found is like, actually most years I'm not growing my business that much. What I'm doing is making it much sturdier underneath and building the structures so that you can't like this table leg may have gotten me to 6 figures, but now there's like 10 table legs, and so you can knock this one out and like, okay, I only need that one to do a very little amount of work now.
I love that. I do this at the start of every quarter. I block 2 days for myself to really go deep on one topic where I see the most potential for the next quarter. So for example, that could have been something like ChatGPT in the past, or when we started on Substack, it was like 2 days of fully absorbing who's out there, what's going on. The next thing that I want to do is business automation. Make.com and those things. That's something where I see a lot of potential. And I might even take a look at how I combine this with your advice. So thank you so much for that. Russell, I said we're only talking half an hour. We're far overdue. So thank you so much for taking all the time. Before I let you go, what's one short piece of advice that you would give everyone who wants to build something on top of Substack? I know you have probably like 100 things in mind.
The most important thing you can know about business overall is that your self-worth is not tied to how much money you make or how many followers you have. You have intrinsic self-worth that is equal to every other human being on this planet, just simply for drawing breath on it one time. Don't. It's very dangerous to get. It's very like addictive to get used to the number going up. But I promise you, at some point, the number will go down, and that is not good. That is just not a good way to live. And every creator I've ever known has like at the beginning, they're like, I must be worth something now because I make money, and then it comes crashing down to the ground, and they're like, so like, if you can find a way to just like not connect those two things, then you will be in so much better position.
I love that. And let me build on that. Even if you are getting better and better at what you are doing and you are taking your business to the next step, I also faced that situation. We really thought, Sinem and I, we are completely growing and we are destroying everything in our niche. And then suddenly life completely knocks you down. Suddenly a family member is super sick. And you're basically from working 30, 40 hours a week to being happy that you have like 40 hours a week with your family and you're no longer focusing on business. So really be ready for setbacks. They happen to everyone. Sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's just things you cannot change. And to add to that, don't compare yourself with other people unless you managed your thoughts so that you're getting inspiration and motivation from looking at other people that are growing faster than you, that are making more money than you. Because even if you're making 5 figures every month, there are people who are making 6 figures. If you're making 6 figures, there are people who are making 7 figures, and so on and so on. So chances are very high you will never outperform everyone, and that's okay. Just live with it.
Yeah. And I'm bad at this a lot of times. Like I think everyone's like, oh, well, you just get to this mountaintop where you like stop. But like every time I see someone's like, every time who's the guy who has Lenny? Every time Lenny puts his like thing on, I'm like, I have failed in my life. But like what I learned about meditation this year is like it's not the skill is not thinking about nothing. The skill is in being able to return to that place when you get distracted. And I think that to me, what I think is very useful about or like how to make this actually tangible is not like I have to never talk about my self-worth. I have to never get I get high on my own supply sometimes. I got a conference in New Orleans in like 3 weeks. Like I'm going to go out there and be like, man, we did something really great here. Like we got all of these people here to this event. Like I'm going to feel real good that week. But like the skill is in like developing the resilience and the mindset to return to counting. Just like return to the like count your breath, live in your breath, and so that when you're distracted, like will always happen, you can return to it and be like, that is not my fight, that is not my circus, those are not my monkeys. Just do the thing as best I can.
Like that. I didn't know, by the way, that you are into meditation. That's something cool to touch on another time. Thank you, Russell, so much for taking the time. Once again, everyone who's still here, and we only talked, I think, about 5 out of approximately 100 ideas that are marked in your book. So please make sure to subscribe to Russell. Click at the top left right now, check out his profile, and make sure to grab a copy of that one. This is not paid advertising. This is just saying thank you, Russell, for all the support that you provided to me on my Substack journey. And really, really appreciate you taking time. And thank you so much, everyone who joined us in today.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.